If your football club didn't exist, who would you support? Is there anything your football club could do to make you stop loving them? These are Sophie's Choice type questions that we get asked in the pub or on social media. But have you ever actually answered them? Do you think you even could? Well, here on FCAA, we force football fans to do just that. Now, for me, a Mancunian Man United fan, obvious choice probably is City, and sadly, I do think that's what it would be. A few family that somehow support City, maybe that would be where I would go. But my dad always bangs on about how I had no choice in supporting United, and I do remember he had the bruised banana Arsenal kit in the 90s for his love of Ian Wright. So I'm thinking maybe I could have been an Arsenal fan, which I'd obviously rather, because I don't think I could support a club with no history or fans. But this is a conundrum I wanted to hear the answers from other football fans too. So I asked some friends who they would support if their club was wiped from existence.
I don't think I'd have a team because I have a team. So if they didn't exist, maybe you find someone else. I think probably a local team. So I grew up in Surrey, so Dorking Wanderers I think are good fun. I like the story there. So that might be a place that I would go. Or maybe it'll be my local team wherever I was living or put roots into, if that makes sense. I think I wouldn't support another team in and around the top end of football.
So for context, I'm a Portsmouth fan, so the possibility of me not having a club to support was a very real thing that could have happened a while ago. So in terms of who I'd support, if I couldn't support Portsmouth, I couldn't support any of the big clubs. I don't feel that connection with top level football or any of the big boys, so to speak. So it'd probably be my local team, Gosport Borough, who, although the level of football isn't as high, I do feel somewhat of a connection with them, despite not being to a game for a few years.
Unfortunately, be Man City because lots of my family are City fans. My older brother was a City fan, but luckily my uncle convinced me to join Man United. So yeah, it would have been City down the road. Main Road was around the corner from me. So yeah, probably Man City. Unfortunately, man, I don't know. I wouldn't have had a great childhood, but I definitely had a good adulthood, that's for sure, man. But yeah.
If Chelsea didn't exist, I think realistically I'd probably support Birmingham City, just because obviously being from Birmingham, I have a few family members who also support Birmingham City, so that feels like the realistic option. I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them, even though they are rubbish. But the unrealistic version, I'd love to support like an Italian team. Their fans are just always amazing. We've been to a Juve game together. I've been to a Milan game. They always just seem great. So probably pick Juve as well. So those are the two.
If I was to support another team besides Arsenal, I probably would have ended up supporting Real Madrid when Zidane was there in 2001. What got me into football was the World Cup, and I always supported France since young. That was the team that won the first World Cup that I watched. That was the team that I fell in love with football with. And it wasn't a club team that actually got me into football. It was international football. So from there, I got a connection to some of those French players. And some of the French players played for Real Madrid and, of course, Juventus. If I look at Zinedine Zidane, that was the guy.
It's a really weird thing to think about because Everton will always be here. We're here since 1878. Thinking of supporting another club, I can't really get my head around it. If Everton didn't exist, there would just be the part of me that hates Liverpool and still obviously loves Everton, but I would never support anybody else. I could never do that. I could never align myself with a club how I've aligned myself with Everton. If Everton didn't exist, that would just be me done, and I'd support the Welsh national team, and that's it. Club football would just be a neutral affair with a hatred towards Liverpool.
If Crystal Palace didn't exist, I definitely wouldn't do what Spurs fans have been doing lately and support my rivals. I'd probably support a non-league team. I wouldn't go into the divisions. Feel like I just couldn't do it. Couldn't follow another professional team. I'd probably look at a Bromley or a Dulwich Hamlet. I've seen them teams a lot. I watch them play. They used to be two of my local teams. Really good facilities, really good fan bases, really good football. So they'd be the two.
So AC Milan, yeah, would be my team. I can't see myself supporting another Premier League team. Rijkaard, Gullit, and then Baggio. When Baggio joined, that was amazing.
If if I didn't support Man United, who would I support? It's a difficult question, but I think it would probably end up being Cambridge United because they are the closest club to me growing up. I've seen a couple of their games and yeah, I follow them a little bit. Although, to be honest, when I was growing up, I wanted to watch football that was on TV and they weren't on TV, they were in the National League. So potentially it could have... could have been Spurs because that's who my granddad supported. But it was just always United for me from day one.
It would be Arsenal. I'm not even gonna lie. Mum supports them, brother supports them. I support Liverpool because of Mark Owen and my dad, but I started watching football in 2004. So my earliest memory is the invincible win for Arsenal. And when you're younger, you naturally gravitate towards the attackers, mainly strikers, and they were actually real number 9s back then. Henry and Owen were the two that were always on the TV in the background, always scoring. So if it wasn't Liverpool, it would be Arsenal because of my mum and brother, and Thierry Henry was one of my favourite players.
So just like me, Roms would have been an Arsenal fan as well. It's quite interesting the perception that question posed to people. Some people looked at it from the angle of their club going under, a bit like Bury or Macclesfield, whereas others, like myself, kind of looked at it as if the club never existed at all. But I do like the fact that if their team were to go under, some people would go and support a lower league team rather than jump on the back of an already successful team. A lot like some Chelsea supporters in 2008. Over the past couple of years, I really do feel like the loyalty of fans has been tested from a lot of clubs, mine included. So I wanted to ask people, is there anything your club could do that would make you stop supporting them? Like have their kits manufactured by Castore.
If the Glazers stay here longer than they have been, if the Glazers stay 5 years' time, I'm not going to see a massive change in what's going on right now. And I don't believe this 25%. They have to show me. I'm the chairman, director, CEO of Wait and Wait and CFC. I have to see it, to believe it. So the Glazers, and the many times I've considered, but it always pulls me back. You know what I mean? Always that love for United. I've been coming here since I was 9 years old, sneaking in. I love Manchester United, but Manchester United are showing us no love for 12 years.
No, I'm United through and through, no matter what. I've grown up in Manchester all my life. I support United from my granddad, and win, lose or draw, whether we get relegated, I'll always follow this team with passion.
I don't think there's anything that could happen, but there are certainly things that could hinder my love. For example, let's say the PIF took over Portsmouth. Hypothetically, I feel like my morals and my politics wouldn't align with the ownership, so I think there would be a moral conflict there, but apart from that, nothing really.
It's a good question, and it's a question I found myself thinking about during the whole Super League debacle, where a lot of fans were let down on that day by the bigger clubs. But on that day I also felt proud to be an Everton fan, as they came out with a statement lambasting the Super League and the reasons as to why it just will never work and why the fans have been let down. Everton's slogan, motto, mantra, whatever, is and has always been the people's club. And you genuinely do feel like that with Everton, so I can't imagine a world where we feel let down as fans when it comes to the community aspect.
Difficult one because you're always going to support United. The Glazers somehow managed to kick out Sir Jim Radcliffe, having made us better and more profitable, or done some sort of deal there, and then raised the ticket prices to an extortionate amount, then I'd probably stop coming to Old Trafford. I'd probably have the season ticket in or something like that, but I'll never stop supporting Man United.
Look, if my club did anything like unethical or anything like that, obviously I wouldn't support them, but apart from that, unless they were kind of trying to make it into like a franchise, or if it kind of lost its soul and its passion, then you'd fall out of love with your club, wouldn't you? So that's the only way I wouldn't be supporting Crystal Palace. Otherwise, always got to support them as fans. All of you will know we absolutely love our clubs and we'd stick by them till the end, no matter if they dropped down the divisions, no matter if they had lots of poor results, no matter if they got relegated, So it's what we do.
If they was to support something that's morally wrong, such as racism, like even the situation of Luis Suarez, the best player I've ever seen play for my club, even when we printed the shirt for him and whatnot, I was young at the time, but I knew something went right with this. It wasn't good to back it. I didn't feel comfortable. That could make me stop supporting my club. It would take a lot for me to stop supporting Liverpool. I live and breathe this club.
I'll be honest with you now, because we've been bad for 10 years and I'm still here, still at the game, you know what I mean? So I'd probably say not coming to games maybe and probably watching from home, but not supporting them now. It's too ingrained in me, man. It's too ingrained in me. So, you know what I mean? United till I die, innit, man? That's what it is, man.
To make me not want to support Chelsea anymore, it has to be something big, because it's just a part of who you are. Like, football fans know, like, it's a part of your personality. It's I'm Jay and I'm a Chelsea fan. The two things put together, so it'd take a lot. And I think the biggest thing has to be the Super League, you know, moving away from the traditional football period as we know it, moving to a game that isn't football, that is just franchise, and it is just about money, and that's what would tip it over the edge for me. That's where I think I'd start to lose the love for the game.
I presume this is about Mason Greenwood. I do not envy Man United fans having to make that moral decision of him coming back and what you do around that. I have had, obviously not on the same level, but I've had an issue with a player playing for us in the past, Joey Barton, before all the stuff he's said since then. And it was difficult. It was difficult. And I think it was one where you can support the team whilst not supporting that player, which, again, is muddled, it's confusing. But, you know, you've been put into that position. So you have to do what you've got to do in terms of getting through it. But as I say, don't envy Man United fans having to deal with that dilemma.
You may have noticed there are a few more United fans in that second video, and I think you got a good mix of answers from them. I think we are definitely the most fractured and confused fan base in Europe, most definitely the Premier League. But as you saw from the video, I think every club comes with their own issues, and fans' loyalty can always be tested. At the end of the day, I feel we as fans just want to go and watch our team and actually enjoy the experience of doing so. Over the past 10 to 15 years, with dodgy owners and even dodgier characters playing for your club, it always feels like there's a dilemma just around the corner. But loving and supporting your football club is something that's a part of you, and rightly or wrongly can sometimes define you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and a big thank you to everyone that got involved in it. Please do answer the questions yourself in the comments below, and let's get some conversation going. Really do appreciate you stopping by, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip side.